Thank you all for being here for my presentation. And thank you to the organizers for giving me this opportunity to share with you my thoughts on the theme of this conference. And let me say that I don't really know what a special lecture is. Okay, I don't know what makes it special, but it is actually special in a distinctive kind of way, because it is 2018, and I will explain to you. I will share with you that informing my thoughts in this conference on this theme, being here in Patna in 2018, thinking about migrant and state. And before I go on, I also wanted to thank the presenters that came before me, because they have given us a wide, broad picture of the theme that we are discussing. And then the student panel also, young researcher panel, just prior to lunch, they also try to narrow our focus, to focus the discussion, to do what Professor Jairam said, is to situate what we're discussing within a context. And I want to take that a little further in my presentation. But before I do, I also wanted to comment on the previous panel. I just wanted to use a little bit of my time to say something about that, which I found very fascinating, because the jackfruit problem, okay, the jackfruit problem. And I was so happy to hear jackfruit mentioned at this conference. And the next time we have a conference here, you better serve jackfruit for lunch, okay? Because why? Okay, let me just say a little bit about myself to kind of put this into context. I've been in India since 2002. I did my PhD. I'm glad to see Dheeraj here, my oldest friend in India, and Professor Jairam, who's actually one of the people I know here who's been to my part of the world, where I come from. I come from Guyana. I know Professor Jairam was in Trinidad. I can't remember if he went to Guyana as well, but I know he was in that part of the world. So there's some people here that I can actually look at when I'm speaking, and I know. But it's great to meet others as well. The jackfruit problem, I think, is really fascinating, and it opens, because the jackfruit is known in Guyana, where I am from. I'm from Guyana, and yes, the last name is Persaud, and let's not change that to anything else, because it is a brand that I carry, and I carry it proudly, not as a sense of marking a difference between me and you, but because it actually captures a moment in history, a time. And to change that name, I've been in India for what is it now, 16 years, and every time when I come, I'm so glad that you spelled my name correctly here. Sometimes I come to a conference and it says Anil Persaud, and I wonder who is that person that is supposed to be there. So these small things mean something. So yes, with the jackfruit problem, I think that the jackfruit discussion earlier links with what I'm going to be discussing as well. Because what the jackfruit does, and I was thinking about this in terms of music earlier, but what the jackfruit does, I think that the jackfruit helps us to open up what I would call a culinary silk route through the Indian Ocean. There's a musical silk route that goes through the ocean, and I think that these are areas of migration and study that it's refreshing to hear that we are opening up these areas for further study. Because the jackfruit in Guyana, I have to tell you, is something, and Sanjeev and Sweetie must be here somewhere, that the jackfruit is there in Guyana, and it came with these indentured laborers to the Caribbean. And it is something that makes its way, as Professor Jairam and I were discussing, it shows up at religious functions. We have a thing called, whenever you go to a wedding or something like that, an Indian wedding, they serve what is called a 7 curry, right? And the seven curry, one of the seven curries is this jackfruit, which we call katahar. We always wondered, how did it arrive there? Where did it come from? The breadfruit is another one, right? The breadfruit is from Africa that arrived in the Caribbean to feed the slaves. That is also something, Sanjeev, that you might want to look into, because that was also, and I liked your response to Dheeraj, that the jackfruit was a thing that we ate when we had nothing. Now we don't need to eat the jackfruit anymore. It's a similar thing going on even in the Caribbean now, with breadfruit and jackfruit, even though they are connoisseurs of the breadfruit and the jackfruit. So I am speaking to you today on this, how do I get rid of this? On this topic of, that I've given this title, Following Slavery and the Question, I hope this goes away, and the question of the witness. Because looking at the title of the conference, how I would rephrase that title. We are supposed to engage with every aspect of our research. Is that I would say a state of migrancy, and states of migrancy and different moments in time, different ideologies present us with different states of migrancy. So colonial, I'm focusing here on the colonial state of migrancy, but making connections to this neoliberal state of migrancy. So how are we going to make these connections? How do I plan to do this?